Well, last week we played a little bit of Ozzy Osbourne when we came in. I think that was Iron Man. This week, obviously, we lost Ozzy last week, but you know what? I'll probably play this anyway. Some weeks I'll play Stranglehold. Some weeks I'll play something different. But, man, you never can go wrong coming into some No More Tears by Ozzy Osbourne. Man, this song just jams. Anyway, welcome to episode number 45 of Clark After Dark, folks. We are ready to be back. Last weekend's podcast, folks, I felt like we were all over the place. I don't know. We covered things from here to there to this to that. Happy to have my co-host joining me once again this week out of Alexandria, Louisiana, after we came off a huge weekend at the Boot Hill Speedway in Greenwood, Louisiana. Cortland Smith joins me now. Cortland, Friday night, 2 rounds of USRE passing point heat races for both the USRE B mods, the USRE limited mods, but of course the USRE factory stocks there racing for $10,000 that hung into the balance there all weekend long. We had 82 cars check in to battle at Greenwood, Louisiana on Friday night. And, well, let's just get right to it. We saw Jeffrey Abbey, the only driver to win both of his heat races on the weekend, of that H237 car for Tim Hardman, of that NTX towing outlaw race car. Jeffrey Abbey's a wheel man, Your Honor, and I think he proved that in the factory stock this weekend. Kind of makes you think why maybe we don't see Jeffrey race more USRE factory stock stuff. Of course, he's a very accomplished driver, really good in the stock cars, and kind of talk to him about that. We'll get more into that in just a minute. Ricky Ingles came home second in the 30K. Cortland, he came home second in the USRE passing point after the 2 round of heats. Mark Underwood Jr., the reigning king of the hills, locked in. And, of course, 36J Justin Whitehead, after sitting on the pole for 30K, not having the run that he wanted, he bounces back. He locks in inside of the top 4 in that new Star Spangled Banner themed 36J car. Man, listen, Friday night, we just saw some badass heat races, right? I mean, that's when all the going gets tough. I mean, that's when you got to lay it all on the line to prepare yourself to set yourself up for a better run on Saturday. But, man, we just started off those 3 first heat races of the night. We kicked it off with factory stocks, and those first 3 heats were just phenomenal. I mean, all the racing in both rounds were just awesome this weekend, man. And I text Bubba and Rollo in the middle of the race. I said, man, this track is awesome. If we can find a way to duplicate this again tomorrow, we'll be in good shape. It was just really, really good racing on Friday night, man. I'm sure you would agree with that assessment as well. You had the perfect view right down there in the infield.
Yeah, I love watching from the infield, man. You can just see so much, and man, just such a cool angle to get to watch from. Blessed to be able to be in the infield again last weekend. But dude, like you said, from I think heat 1 or either heat 2, Rick Ingles passes 10 cars to win the heat race. You know, from the drop of the green, there is no stretch of imagination here. The racetrack was on point, and if you needed to go, you could go, and if you didn't have the car to go, somebody that did was going to pass you, and that was the bottom line. I mean, they absolutely did a phenomenal job, because I'm not going to lie, when I went there on practice on Thursday, I'm not going to hide it, like it was blowing dust early, and it rubbered up pretty, like it kind of towards the end of practice really cleaned up in one groove, and kind of not necessarily took rubber, but that was when the fastest laps of the night was turned on practice night, was late in the evening. So really to turn around on that Friday and to just have the track we did, dude, it was it just speak testaments to what Bubba and Rollo have done. They 95% of the time you don't have to worry about that thing being racy, because they got it dialed in. And the contenders, like we could imagine, like you said, Jeffrey Abbey, accomplished stock car racer, and anything he ever wants to race, he can get the job done. And dude, did he show up and show out. And there was a lot of guys that were sitting here saying that they may be a little bit happy it got rained out, because they got a month or so to try to dial this thing back in, because they said that Jeffrey Abbey, that old H237 car was on a rail, and boy was she, because and there was a couple guys that told me they're kind of happy to get a month off to try to recoup where they were at, because they obviously didn't think they were as good as they was.
Yeah, they have too many numbers and digits in their racing number, him and Mason Martin. But I think I called them both H231 all weekend. And I think I said it right a second ago. I actually said Abbey was H237, because his regular number is 37. But, you know, obviously Hardman's numbers are H2. So he allows them guys to add a little bit of personal, you know, gets a little more personal, because they put their own numbers within that H2. Makes it pretty cool anyway. And both cars are really fast, too. Mason Martin didn't really have the run he wanted this weekend, but did show some strength and speed, as he typically does. He won the Outlaw 34 down there in Corpus Christi at the South Texas Race Ranch last year. That has emerged into one of the best USRE factory stock teams around right now, man. Tim Hardman, when he shows up to the racetrack, man, that race team means business between Mason and Jeffrey Abbey, man. And they showed up and showed out this weekend.
Yeah, Mason Martin picks up a heat race win in round one. And like you said, both of them show speed. And they have become a formidable force. Whenever you see that team roll in, you know they're going to be contenders no matter who he's got behind the wheel of the H2 car. I know Abby kind of that seat kind of plays open-ended there. They kind of pick and choose, or whoever can get in it that weekend gets in it. But happy to see Abby got in it this past weekend. But man, like you said, just like there's no doubt about it. When they roll in, like you got to think twice about them. Like it's not when they're in your heat race, you're definitely looking over your shoulder waiting for an old H2 nose to be popping underneath you.
Man, one of the heat races that stood out to me the other night was the one where Justin and Dalton started in row 4. Dalton started 7th and Justin started 8th, and Dalton ended up winning the heat race. But that was the race within the race, right? Watching those guys. So it was surprising. Justin ends up 4th in passing points. Well, the second heat race for Dalton, the track gets slicked off much more by that point. And Ricky Burke Jr. had picked his pocket coming to the checkers, beating by 1/1000th of a second coming to the line. Had Dalton passed, I can't remember the driver right here off the top of my head, he was trying to get. If he would have got second, he'd have got locked in just by us figuring it up in our head. We've seen a lot of races, so the passing points and the finishing points, you can kind of tell when a guy's picking up points and it's getting figured out. But man, with Ricky Burke passing him right there, like I'm not going to say it set Dalton behind the 8 ball, but it certainly pushed him back and didn't lock him in to the main event and put Justin up into that 4 spot with Ricky Burke passing him right there. That just goes to show the fine line in this racing and these passing points. Like you have to get, we talk about it time and time again, you can't leave anything on the table. And it's not that Dalton didn't leave anything on the table. Ricky just snuck right there to the outside of him in that heat race. And it cost him. Like I said, he would have been locked in, but he ended up not being because he gave up that spot.
It's funny you mentioned Dalton Faulkner in the race within the race, because when we had him on a couple weeks ago, he mentioned like he wants the stacked heat races. That way he can keep Justin Whitehead and Ricky Ingles and Mark Underwood from gaining all the passing points, because he's confident enough in his stuff and his equipment, his program to go past those guys. And, just that race within the race, man, there's so much more. And just that one spot can literally put you from being locked in to in a murderer's row B main that is going to be absolute, just a dogfight to get in the top 10, it's crazy, and I hope we're able to relay that message well enough, whether it's through the pod and throughout the broadcast. Y'all do a wonderful job up there, man. But there's so many races within a race when we talk about the passing point system that it's absolutely bonkers how passing this one guy can literally set you 3 rows higher, because it puts him back. I mean, there's just so many different nooks and crannies inside that deal when you run 2 sets of heat races and you got to get 2 good finishes, man. It just the storylines are a plethora whenever we do this type of format, and it's what's made Arclatex factory stock crown jewel events what they are. You have these passing point heat races, the race within the race, and all of this stuff that compiles in and to make a weekend put together to win one of these races, man. It's just it's incredible what we have, man. And I really think a lot of guys take it for granted that we have this class and we have all these big money races and get to put on weekends like this, man. It really is something special.
If you don't have a USRA factory stock and you live around Texas or Louisiana, I mean, if you run I don't know what you race, but if you're thinking about getting into racing or you've been out of it for a little while, I'd probably get a factory stock, just saying. I mean, if you want to race where the competition is and you want to race for good money, I mean, look, we were going to race for 10 grand Saturday night. Of course, we'll get to that in a second. We got rained out, unfortunately. Thanks a lot, Mother Nature. What a bee. But anyway, we'll run for $7,500 again just next weekend over the road at Texarkana 67 for factory stocks. I mean, the big money just continues on, and then we got more races being added. We'll talk about that later too. The Texas Motor Speedway Dirt Track, the World Dirt Track Championships are back, and I think that's $2 or $3 grand to win, just on top of all the big money we're already racing for. I mean, we're just about over halfway through this 2025 campaign, and man, there's a lot of great racing. Of course, let's just get to it. Saturday night, unfortunately. So after the races Friday, Rollo and I were talking. We were expecting some rain, Cortland. We both agreed, okay, the forecast doesn't look great tomorrow during the day, but it got progressively worse as the morning came. I mean, it wasn't like we weren't expecting rain. We just weren't expecting a shit ton of rain, and that's exactly what we got. We were talking, and he's like, man, to be honest with you, Zach, like, we could use the rain, it'll save us on the water truck.
Yeah.
Same old story that every dirt track promoter will tell you, we're not going to rain out, so, but Rollo was confident, and I was too. Like, I didn't think that there was any chance that I was showing back up to Boot Hill Saturday, but I was showing up to go pick up my 4-wheeler that I left there, not to go and call the races. It really, really, truly sucked. But so we were losing canopies. I mean, dude, it rained its ass off. I mean, Dustin Randall lost his Auburn Tigers 10. It blew away into the Greenwood afternoon. She wrote, Like I said, I went back out there to get my four-wheeler, and the track in the infield was just absolutely flooded. If there was any way that we could have raced Saturday night, and I know Bubba and Rollo were confident that we were going to get the race, but at that point, man, there's just nothing you can do, man. It was a toad strangler there on Saturday afternoon.
Man, if you slipped and fell in a ditch, you was gonna find out if your hat would float or not. You know what I mean? Like it come in a downpour.
If you slipped and fell on the broadcast on Friday night too, you'd know it.
Raise your hand, and that was me.
That was awesome,
we could talk. I mean, it made its rounds, man. No, didn't miss a beat.
Whoa, big sexy down.
Yeah, big sexy took a tumble here. I'm glad we can laugh about it, man. I promise you, if anybody that really knows me, they know I love to put a laugh and put a smile on people's face. And so what if it's at the cause of me taking a little tumble there? But like you said, I got up. I didn't lose my hat. Radio stayed on, and I kept on chipping away like I'm somewhat of a professional or something, you know. But no, man, like I had to stop at the Tractor Supply parking lot across the street from the track because like I didn't feel like it was safe to be driving. Like me and Natalie were going to eat lunch, and if it was just me by myself, I might have kept on trucking. But when you got your fiance that you love, you don't want to put them at risk, you know. So I sat in the Tractor Supply parking lot for probably 30 minutes, and I'm sitting there watching it downpour, going, Lord have mercy, like this is not good. Like it come a torrential downpour, people. And I promise you, like you said, Zach, Bubba and Rollo, we're going to do everything they could to get that show in, but there's just nothing you could have done at that point, man. We have raced there before at the King of the Hill with a little rain shower. Not no means like that. We can deal with the muddy pits and trying to get pit road cleaned off. But man, when the racetrack was in the shape it was, dude, there's just no way, you know, like that's just the bottom line. And absolutely hate that it did happen. You know, like you said, we're all looking, it's no more than like a quarter of an inch of rain. And then all of a sudden, I think it dumped 2.5 to 3 inches in a 45-minute period there. So that's all you need to know, folks. Like there was just no way it was going to happen. And it absolutely sucks that it did end up being like that. But hey, like I said, we get to wait a month and build this thing up even more. And guys get to show back up with another chance to win $10,000.
Yeah, you know, the first few King of the Hills were marred by Mother Nature like that. We just had a difficult time. The one Taylor Carver won in 16, it paid 5,000 wins, of course, originally scheduled to pay 10. We had to cut it down and had to cut the perks due to Mother Nature. And then the 2017 running, Derek Grigsby wanted to pay 7,500 to win when it was supposed to rate 10 because we had to cut the purse a little bit that year too due to Mother Nature. But man, we've really got in, and there's the infield right there. I mean, you see it, folks. I mean, it was. And here's the deal, Cortland. So we raced on it Friday. When the track is sealed like it is, when it rains like that, when the track is basically sealed, so they didn't go back out there and till the track back up after Friday. So the track is sealed. And what that does for anybody who's not familiar, what it does, it basically works like concrete. That rain's all going to hit and it's just going to roll right down to the bottom. And that's why you see the infield, you know, is filled up with water like it is because it just rolls right down the racetrack. The racetrack does not suck up all of that rain and all that moisture as much as which if it did, we would have really been screwed then. But that's why you see the infield so wet too, because the track was already sealed at that point.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, I mean, you could take a bottle of water. I guarantee you could take a bottle of water after the races on Friday night and pour it at the top of the track and watch it run all the way down. Like it'll just make a stream all the way down to the infield. And a little bit will soak in. At the end of the day, it is dirt, but it's dirt that has been compacted very hard and had hundreds and hundreds of laps turned on it, and a lot of tires ran across it. And it just gets, like you said, it gets as hard as concrete out there, man, and it just rolls down there and creates a mud hole. But man, when you get a rain like that, you could even see the track surface, dude. Like everything was soaking wet. Like there's just nothing. I mean, that's the bad part about dirt track racing, man, is when Mother Nature comes like that and it comes a downpour and we get more rain than we need, we're just in a bind, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was looking up on my race pass to double check. We had 163 entries into the pits the other day. I just wanted to commend our track staff and everybody on Friday night for a job well done, man. Like when you're looking at these races and before you start the night, you look and you're like, oh man, this is a potential. We could be here till 2 a.m. tonight. Let's just be real, dude. We were done at 11:35 or 11:40. Jill Shannon, Amanda Jones, Tiffany Welch, our flagman, Keith Parker was back this weekend along with Crow Seals. Dude, our whole staff did a fantastic job. We ran our whole I mean, if you look on RaceON and you see a broadcast is under 5 hours, dude, we ran 36 races on Friday night. We were in dual heat races for the B mods, the limiteds, and the factory stocks, along with heat races for the rookie sportsters, the sportsters, and a heat and a feature for the tuners. By the way, that was a badass race. You haven't seen it, the highlights are out there. Clay Gardner, Josh Warren going at it in the tuners. We're going to wrap up Boot Hill in just a second, but dude, just want to give a shout out to all of our great staff at Boot Hill, man. We got that show in, I think it was 4 hours and 45 minutes total, which was on the broadcast. And to run hot laps and all of those cars and that amount of time, dude, is a testament to the great staff we have. And I'm not here kissing their ass, dude. Listen, we see how it goes, on the other footage. The 30K, we had a lot of red flags. We had a lot of carnage. And we had far less of that here on Friday night, man. And a shout out to all the great drivers, too. It takes everybody, takes two to tango, and everybody coming together as one, not crashing, not drawing unnecessary cautions and all that really helps speed up the program, man. And it really matters, too. It truly does. Getting out of there before 12 o'clock with 163 cars in the pits is good shit. And we should strive for that every single time.
And it just helps the vibe throughout the pit area too. When you get done by that time and everybody can start hanging out and it's not 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning and everybody's dragging tail and just regretting every decision they've made that night so far. And like you said, it takes all of us, man, from the track crew to the drivers, everybody. And, you asked me, I think during the tuner feature, you're like, man, Cortland, the night's just gone a lot smoother, and it did. And it just, there's no rhyme or reason to it because I promise you guys were racing just as hard as they were at the 30,000. And it's some of those situations and nights that it just happens. I think a little bit of help was the fact that at the 30,000, we were really curbed up around the top. And whenever you get on that cushion like that, I mean, when you are less than a foot away from the outside wall and you make a mistake, you hit the wall. Well, then you hit the wall and you have more damage. And then you come down the racetrack and there's a situation where you come down the racetrack and stuff happens. So, there's all different types of variables to why stuff happens. And, you can't sit here and list them all. But like you said, dude, everybody did a phenomenal job on Friday night. Like you said, 36, 38 races, however many it was. I guarantee when we started the night, I thought I was going to be on my feet for about 8 hours. And y'all boys helped out old Big Sexy here. And I wasn't having to stand down there too long. And it really was, man. If a race fan showed up or anybody watching didn't enjoy that, then Zach, I'm going to steal your line. You don't like dirt track racing, man, because it was just, it was a top tier show. It really was.
Well, and I'm just going to say this right here, right now on Clark After Dark. I'm not sure where all the fans were on Friday, and it's becoming kind of an alarming deal for me, I'm not going to say for me, for I think Boot Hill and a lot of people, and this just isn't a Boot Hill issue. I get it. I think the crowd would have probably been great on Saturday. Rollo and I also talked about that, is like when the crowd is a little less than what it should be or what you're expecting on Friday, typically it means our Saturday night crowd is going to be much bigger. So we were really looking forward to that, and Lord, I hope so. I hope that people are still interested in coming watching the King of the Hill for 10 grand. I mean, I really hope so. I don't know what the reason would be if they didn't show up on Saturday night and show out like they have for the last 10 years for this race. But we'll find out August 30th. I really think they'll show back up and show out. A couple of quick notes that I had as well, man. Dalton Dubois had a great run on the weekend, finished fifth. I just had a couple of little quick things on Boot Hill before we completely move away from it. Dustin Hennigan, who won the 30K, he was sixth in passing points, had himself another really great pair of heat races. He continues to impress. Dustin does. I think he just continues to gain as a driver. Obviously, he won that 30 grand, and he blossomed right before our eyes that night. He just continues to gain car control and gain speed, and he's been impressive. I was really impressed on Friday night, Cortland, with driver car number 42 from Onalaska, Texas. I have no idea where the hell Onalaska, Texas is. But Zane Goff doesn't have the prettiest car in the pits. You know what I'm saying? This guy's raced limiteds in the past, and I'm going to tell you right now, that dude was up on the wheel this weekend. Zane Goff, I think he was locked into the top 15 in points, but man, he was exchanging slide jaws with Dustin Hennigan in that opening heat race on the night. I couldn't have been any more impressed with Zane Goff, man. It was great to see him have a good run. Josh Martin out in his brand new Force chassis, locked in 10th. He'll be back on August the 30th to see if he can't make his way into the King of the Hill. And how about Pork Chop Kenneth Chamberlain, former Lone Star Speedway track champion? He was 12th, and man, he had a really good run. He got his pocket picked there late by Mark Underwood Jr. in that second round of heats. He almost had him a heat race W and a solid top 3 finish. But man, those few guys right there, just wanted to give them a shout out right here. And also Stephen Guidry and Joel Cuvion are on the pole for the USRA Limited and BMOD main events coming on August the 30th. And like I mentioned, Josh Warren and Clay Gardner, one of the best tuner races I've seen. Like, I don't know if they can get much better than that, buddy. Hey, the gloves were off. The youngster and Josh Warren, they were going at it. They were throwing haymakers, and I'm not sure that they can just get much better than that. Let's just be real.
Dude, there's not many tuner races that are going to be better than that. there was 25 lead changes, and I think they were just going slider for slider, 1 and 2, and then throwing back in 3 and 4, and we did that for many laps for what I felt like was for the entirety of the race, honestly. Like, I mean, it was an absolutely phenomenal tuner race, and I'll be the first one to tell you that I don't think tuners necessarily always put on the best show, but by golly, that on Friday night, they did it, and man, what a race. You know, Joshua did pick up the dub, but old Clay Gardner there gave him everything he wanted and the kitchen sink. I mean, just threw everything he had, and they threw everything they had at each other. You know what I mean? It was an absolute slobber knocker WWE main event at WrestleMania, bud. DDTs were thrown, the sweet chin music was out. I mean, it was all the above in that feature.
Dude, I just received a message from Donna Whitehead that said, we're watching from the middle of the ocean. There for a minute, I thought we were live on Clark After Dark tonight. I was like, oh no, I didn't know we were live. No, I assume she's had terrible service and she was watching the RaceON broadcast. Just came in at 8:21 on the evening from the beautiful Miss Donna Whitehead, who was watching her son. I guess they were on a cruise. Anyway, we'll move on now. I was like, wow. Anyway, man, hey, next deal. I'm not going to put you at the back of the pack this week, dude. We're up the front of the pack. We're waving the green flag right now on Court's Corners right here on Clark After Dark.
Court's Corners for July 29th, my man. We've talked about the King of the Hill. It rained out Saturday. I got to give props to guys that went to different racetracks and raced. Jeffrey Abbey pulled up to RPM and absolutely spanked their tail and proved that he's one of the fastest factory stocks this past weekend. And my boy Logan Gordon, who had a really good run as well this past week in the King of the Hill, he shows up to Super B and picks up the dub. So shout out to them two guys for going and still racing on Saturday. By all means, I wasn't going to be mad at nobody if they went home after it rained out, but those guys still wanted to go race and they picked up dubs. So congrats to them. Dude, I am absolutely loving this STIMS modified tour that RaceON gets to broadcast, man. The Southern Texas IMCA modified series had 35 cars rolling to Hot Speedway, and it was a absolutely phenomenal night of racing. Went back, watched the heat races and the feature. Logan Dinsmore picks up the dub. Second was Dean Abbey. Third was Chris Morris. Fourth was Cody Leonard. Fifth was Garrett Gregory. And sixth was Johnny Torres. And the reason I went all the way down to sixth is because Logan Dinsmore passed 3 cars to get the dub. Dean Abbey passed 4 cars to get the second. Chris Morris passed 14 cars working the bottom to perfection to get to third. Cody Leonard was a +3, Garrett Gregory +5, and my boy JT Johnny Torres was +9. Dude, they were moving and shaking, and then coming to the white flag, it was a 3-car battle for the lead, man. An absolutely phenomenal show out of the STIMS mods at Hot Speedway, dude. I'm becoming a fan, dude. I've watched them anytime they pop up, and I got to give them a shout out, dude. 35 mods on a weekend that's really good. And then throw it back, another series I like to give some love to, man, the American Crate Late Model Series. My boy Denny G put the spanking on them at RPM and on Saturday, but on Friday they raced at Hunt County, and Bo Begnod wins. Kaysen Caps was second, and third was Patrick Daniel. And I thought it was a really good run for Kaysen Caps. I didn't really necessarily, I've heard the name before, but didn't really know a whole lot about him, and went and looked. And if my race pass bio is correct, he's 16 years old. And dude, he drove a really good race to get around PD there, and was right there on Begnod. Begnod was just a little bit better. And then the last but not least, I know I said last week on Court's Corners, or maybe in the past, I said I was a little sad because the Summer Nationals and stuff was over. But boy, it is crown jewel season in dirt late model racing, Zach Clark. It is crown jewel season. We raced for the Silver Dollar Nationals, 75K a couple weeks ago. We had the PDC last weekend. We roll into the USA Nationals at Cedar Lake this week. Next week's the North-South 100. The week after that is my absolute favorite crown jewel, the Topless 100 at Batesville Motor Speedway for 50K. And then we roll on to the Port Royal Speedway for the Rumble by the River for another 50K showdown. We're not racing every single day of the week no more, boys, but by golly, late model racing is at its prime. It is crown jewel season, and if you want to watch some phenomenal races, them guys are running for a lot of money here for the last 3 weeks and for the next 4 weeks, man. It is absolutely crazy that we get to enjoy a sport of dirt track racing that pays this kind of money and get to watch some of the elite drivers in the world go at it. That's your Court's Corners for today, man.
Court's Corner, dude, let me tell you, it might have been to the top of the heap right there. That Court's Corners is good. I got a couple notes off of your Court's Corners, as you mentioned. Dude, IMCA modified racing is good. It is. Let's just be real about it. Like, I love outlaw mod racing. I love USRA, Wasoda. Like, it doesn't matter. You know me, man. I just love good racing. It doesn't matter the sanctioning body and all that shit. If it has a spoiler or if it doesn't. If they put on quality racing, that's what I care about. And if the fans like it, I love it. And I do love IMCA modified racing. I've had the opportunity to go to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway dirt track I call the Duel in the Desert. pretty interesting. That's 10 years ago now. It's pretty crazy. I called that deal in 2015. But and that was what was funny is I had only been accustomed to USRA style modified racing throughout my whole announcing career up until that point. And then I get the opportunity to go to Vegas, call one of the biggest IMCA races, and it was funny because Lucas Schott ended up winning it that weekend, right? And Terry Phillips, there was a lot of guys there. Rodney Sanders, that was his first weekend. Just looking back anyway, but and also man, Case and Caps. You mentioned Case and Caps. He won the Junior Limited Modified Nationals last year at Rocket Raceway Park, and it proves that Junior Limited Modified division is a great breeding ground for a lot of young racers who are looking to build, the stepping stones in their racing career to move up and race with guys like Denny Gabar and Patrick Daniel. Case and Caps, I was not aware. You tell me he passed Patrick Daniel and finished second in front of him behind Denny Gabar.
Behind Bo. Bo won Friday. Yeah.
Dude, listen, that's just badass. That young man has had racecraft since the very first time, and I'll be honest, I was a little hard on him. I mean, I raced with him quite a bit on iRacing here and there, but I was being nice about it. I told his dad, I said, man, it's time for this kid to move up. Like, let's get him out of the Junior Limited Modifieds. Like, he's been dominating this deal. He's got the race control and racecraft. Of course, not my place to tell them what to do with their race program. It was me. It was more me speaking about the strides that he had taken in his career, not saying that he didn't deserve to get there and, and log the laps and gain some experience. But I just felt like he had gotten there, right? And, man, it's just great to see young kids like him pushing the progression. And, man, his cousin, they're really good too. Landon Caps, he wins a lot at Grayson County. They're a really great racing family. I just wanted to add that, man. I love seeing those young kids like Case and Caps, like you mentioned, for him to turn your head and for you to notice him, man, I think that's really cool. And he'll appreciate the shout out right here on Clark After Dark tonight, man. He's a really good kid, man. And I can't wait to watch what he has going for him in the future.
Yeah, like you said, dude, he ran a really good race, man, and gave Bo all he wanted. He was trying to work the outside of 3 and 4. Bo was kind of more or less getting towards the bottom there and just making really good speed. I've never been to Hunt County or Greenville, whatever you want to call it, but it looks like essentially a big circle, and you can keep as long as you can keep your car straight and keep a lot of speed up, that's kind of the way it goes. And sometimes you got to hunt brown, and other times you can search around. But dude, he gave it everything he had up there in 3 and 4. I don't know if he was just tight or there was a little hole, and just couldn't necessarily turn as good as he probably needed to get around them and really contest for the win. But like you said, dude, absolutely phenomenal job out of him. And then also we're talking about the IMCA mods. I was one, I ain't gonna say I never disliked them, but the whole crate motor deal, you always hear guys talk about, IMCA mod racing isn't as good as USRA or other type of mods because they're on crate motors. And dude, I'm telling you, man, these STEM features have been absolutely bangers. And IMCA racing up north is good, so like it's really turned my head. IMCA mod racing is just as cool as any other modified racing. I'll put it like that in my book.
100%, man. It really is good, man. And I think them crate mode, everybody's so even. It does come down to shocks and setups for a lot of these guys, and you'll see guys hit it, and they can get on a good run. We saw Tom Berry Jr. dominate IMCA there for a little while, but man, it's really hard for guys to dominate in a sanction like IMCA. Everybody's just so even, draw and everything's just so very important. Man, you mentioned in your Court's Corners the PDC and of course the Flow Racing Night in America. I do want to talk about Stewart Friesen's crash here before we get to the PDC and Flow Racing Night in America, man. Obviously, everybody's heard it and seen the video shared around the world that Stewart Friesen, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series regular, man, that was a vicious crash at Autodrome Drummond Speedway in Canada last night. As soon as I saw the crash, I mean, obviously, we all knew it was bad. And, man, I saw it and I held my breath. And anyway, I was kind of holding my breath all night long, kind of similar to how I felt with the World of Outlaw sprint cars last week, just waiting on, the condition and getting word on these drivers. His wife, Jessica Friesen, who's also, formerly known as Jessica Zimkin, she raced these big block style modifieds as well. But she released an update today saying that Stewie had an unstable open book pelvic fracture with a large hematoma in that area, along with a fractured right leg. The good news is he has no head, neck, or spinal injuries, so that's great news. But the injuries he sustained in this crash are very serious and potentially life-altering for him. I'm glad that Stewart is still with us, that this crash didn't take him from us. But, man, crashes just don't get much scarier than that, man. Like, I like the fact that Jessica pointed out and thanked the chassis builder for building such a safe piece, or, as safe as possible. Yeah. But I think this is just another reminder, and as Jessica talked about, as we talked about last week with the sprint cars, at Eldora, that these freak accidents are going to continue to happen. And regardless of how safer our sport is now with all the safety advancements and how far we've come, being so technologically advanced with all the safety equipment, Man, we're just not. I don't think you can ever stop freak accidents from happening. I just wish Stewart Friesen a full recovery. As man, this is a very, very serious injury.
Yeah, first and foremost, like you said, I hope Stewart Friesen recovers well and can get back to doing Stewart Friesen things. Like you said, dude, absolutely scary crash. If you didn't hold your breath in watching that, then I don't know what to tell you, because I mean that would shake you to the bone. I mean, and I don't know Stewart Friesen personally by no means. Most of us don't. But I mean, when you see somebody that races, we're all a family at the end of the day, and you don't want to see nothing bad happen to any of your brethren out there. And dude, it's just absolutely scary. And we've kind of gotten a couple reminders here the last couple of weeks, and it's not good. Whether it's at the Sonoya fence accident and the sprint cars at Eldora, man. At the end of the day, people, this is a very dangerous sport, and thank the good Lord that Stewart's okay. But I also know that he has top of the line safety equipment. I figure he would, and that just should be a reminder to anybody, man. Stewart Friesen was one of the best in the business, and literally slipped off the backstretch just a hair too much, and all of a sudden we're in for a crazy ride, would be the best way to describe it. And it's just a reminder to our drivers, man, dude, if you don't take safety serious, you need to, man. I'm just going to put it like that. I'm glad Stewart is still with us, and I hope he recovers fully. But I think we should just all use these incidents and stuff and be thankful that everybody's still here with us, but also use it as a reminder, like, man, keep up on your safety stuff, dude, because I can walk around that factory stock pit area, and I'm not going to call nobody out, but you can find some outdated seat belts, and you can find some dudes racing without a neck restraint or a Hans. And I know a Hans is expensive, but you can go buy the old rodeo neck collar, the old big foam, whatever it is, man. Anything's better than nothing, in my opinion. So just please, guys, take your safety serious, because this is a very serious sport, and stuff can happen really fast, man. And just absolutely crazy incident there. That's all there was to it, man. And then, man, he went up in the air. I mean, he was up in the air. I mean, he was clear for takeoff, and they got. Yes, and then two cars come in there. I mean, the fuel cell completely disconnected from the car and was on fire. Like it was just there. You're not going to see many worse wrecks than that in dirt track racing. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, there may be a couple sprint car flips that get pretty wild. And as we're talking about wrecks, I seen Justin Grant. He took a tumble during Indiana Sprint Week, and he was slow to get out. I should have kept up on this. This just hit me while I was talking. He took a tumble, and he was slow to get out, dude. He was hung over the road. Like, he got out on his own power, but was just kind of laid there for a minute. So it definitely knocked the wind out of him. And I just say all that because I know those are guys that run the Hans and all the safety devices possible, and they can get shaken up. So please, guys, just keep your safety gear up to date and get the best you can.
Yeah, I wanted to add a little bit more on that, but I just wanted also to note that Justin Green is racing tonight at Kokomo with a broken right foot with pins and screws all in his foot. They set up a handbrake. Similar, you just mentioned Chris Morris racing with the STIMS modified series. He races with full hand controls. Well, obviously, dude, Justin Grant's a badass. He does not want to not be in that race car, and so they put together some kind of handbrake in order for him to race. So it's going to be interesting. I would not be shocked if he can somehow find a way to win at Kokomo tonight. That would be pretty badass, man. You can't keep JG down for very long. But I also wanted to mention about this Friesen crash. You know how these cars, they're center steer cars. Mm-hmm. So when he slipped off the back straight, a lot of people in the comments and all over social media, of course, they're going to do this. They're chastising this racetrack. It's the track's fault. It's the track's fault because they have an opening right here. We saw Jason Johnson get killed at Beaver Dam. That opening, the concrete on the back straightaway. Boot Hill used to have the same thing. We finally closed it. Anytime these kind of crashes happen, it opens up for the social media world and everybody to be very critical of these racetracks, which I don't think it's fair. But at the same time, if it helps the sport get any safer, I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not sure. I wasn't there physically at the racetrack to be able to tell you guys that this is exactly the reason why Stewart's hurting in a hospital bed right now. I just know if anybody hits a opening in a wall at the speed that he did, and keep in mind too, Cortland, if he'd have hit that, because like them cars are center steer, let's just say this is the wall, he hit it probably off kilter. If he'd have hit that thing dead center, Stewart Friesen probably would not be with us today, just being honest. I mean, he hit it at a very precarious spot, but if he'd have hit it even more center and not just launched him up in the air the way it did, dude, this could have been it's crazy to say this could have been worse, but I mean, it truly could have been worse. I'm thankful that Friesen's still here with us, because it was as nasty as that crash could get, hitting that opening of the wall the way it is right there. And I'm not sure if Autodrome Drummond Speedway will think about closing that entry up right there, because there are a lot of racetracks that have that outside, that concrete opening kind of exposed like that. And I don't know if there's a right answer to it or if this is the right time to chastise the racetrack. But if there's any time to address it, right now would be probably the time to.
Yeah, like you said, there's a bunch of racetracks that have it. I think, man, if my memory serves correctly, Farmer City used to have that in Boone Briggs. He didn't go up in the air, but he ripped the whole rear clip out of a car before as well, So, like you said, we're just where he hit, man. He really lucky he did hit where he hit, because it just essentially just disconnected that whole rear clip. And like they said, just what a phenomenal job by the chassis manufacturer and everything, because that whole wreck took an absolute beating. And I'm not saying they necessarily design it to just break away like that, but I know sprint cars and different things, I mean, when energy can get pulled away and sent off a different direction, that definitely helps. And man, just like you said, it's crazy, and we're glad that this is no worse than what it is. But just it makes you realize, man, we go out here and enjoy these races a lot, but all it takes is a foot and a half off the backstretch, or a foot and a half here or there, and somebody ramping over this, that, and the other. I mean, it could be in any division, any Saturday night. Just need to make, like I said, dude, I'm just gonna keep on hitting on it, because man, safety is a big thing, and my dad hounded it on me from the get go. I don't go out there without my Hans. I don't go out there without the winning net, my belts. That's just something that was always hounded on me. And gloves, I know a lot of guys hate it, but dude, safety is just, we're in too dangerous of a sport. And you mentioned the speed. We're going faster than we ever have in every single class of cars. And just you can't take safety lightly.
That's what I was going to say that was a perfect segue and I think we kind of talked about this off mic the other day, that every single classic car on dirt right now with the shock technology, we've talked about the technology and everything else that have made these cars just so much faster through the corners than they've ever been. I mean, cars are just getting around these racetracks, whether it's a limited modified or a USRA factory stock or a big block modified up in Canada, or it's a Lucas Oil late model. These guys are just ripping around the racetrack now. They're so stuck around these racetracks. They're going faster than they've ever been, which, okay, we've come a long way in safety technology and everything, but man, we're going so much faster than we've ever been too, right? I mean, it's kind of crazy.
You can never be safe enough, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. Hey, let's talk about the some super late model racing now. How about that old PDC?
Yes,
you kicked it off with Flow Racing Night in America. Of course, Bobby Pierce wins on Wednesday night. No surprises there. I think everybody was expecting him after that Flow Night in America win on Wednesday to probably go back-to-back in the PDC, because he was just so fast. He stretched it out. He won by several seconds, but so Fairbury, American Legion Speedway faced weather, and they had plenty of chances to cancel and or get rained out, and they pushed through it, man. We ended up being treated to the tune of about 2:00 in the morning to one of the most popular and most exciting wins we'll see this season, with Squirrel finding a nut. Like, how cool is that to see Brian Shirley win the PDC? And it wasn't just that Brian won the PDC, it was seeing how much winning the PDC meant to him, seeing his emotion and getting out of the car, winding his arms up to the fans and pumping the crowd and falling down on the ground next to the car, because he was just blown away with emotion. Like, we talk about this all the time, like that's what it's all about. No, that truly is what it's all about. Like, I was kind of emotional for Shirley watching it. Me and my dad were in the kitchen watching, or not in the kitchen. I was at his house. I stay there when I'm in town for Boot Hill. We were in there hooping and hollering, high-fiving at 2:45 in the morning. My dad didn't know that he was a Brian Shirley fan, but he came out a Squirrel fan on Saturday night. And what a win for Shirley, man. And I don't think anybody didn't want to see that. Like, Shepard had a shot, but man, Brian had this line that he was running all night, Cortland, and 1 and 2, where he'd almost enter the cushion, like into the middle, and he would slide up with the right rear and catch it, where it was kind of the defensive line where he was sliding himself and nobody else could slide him, and won. Man, he drove such a good race. He was getting such a monster run off of turn number 2. And man, there was a couple guys, man, they threw something at him all night. There was a few different players. Davenport was there, Pierce was in there, and then Shepard got back to second. And man, I thought Shepard might get him there, but that was just that falls magic, man. And we talked about that last week too. The race ended at about 2:45 a.m. The fans were still all there. They were fired up. They booed when they announced the race was possibly going to be 50 laps, and they erupted with cheer when they officially announced that it was still going to be 100 laps, man. That was just that falls magic, dude. What a showcase. What a showcase in Fairbury, Illinois.
There's a reason why this thing has absolutely erupted in the last 10 years to become one of the elite crown jewels. The Fairbury Magic, whether it's at 10 o'clock at night or 3 o'clock in the morning, man. And just somebody like Brian Shirley winning it just adds to that magic. You know, you talked about his emotion, getting out twice, fist pumping. You could just see just the weight of the world lifted off his shoulders and just so ecstatic. But also to add on top of that, man, you know, Shirley, I read a Dirt on Dirt article, and I'm not going to say it because I don't know for sure, but his wife is in the hospital. She gets treatments twice a year, and she's been in the hospital the last 2 weeks. And he went up on their off day. They had flow night on Wednesday. They had an off day Thursday, then a race Friday, Saturday. And he went to the hospital in Chicago, Illinois, and spent the day with his wife. And she stays up there 2 weeks for treatment and stuff. And man, just, you know, that raw emotion, like you said, you didn't know you was a Brian Shirley fan, and old Natalie, she's a Brian Shirley fan as well, because about 3 years ago, he won at the Wild West Shootout, or it may have been longer than that, 3 or 4 years ago. He won at the Wild West Shootout and got out and was in tears because his wife was in the hospital, had got sent to the hospital, and she told him to stay and race. And you can just tell that that's a racing family, man, and they do everything they can for Squirrel to be out there, and just what a phenomenal win for him. Really cool dude. The couple interactions I've had with him, doesn't mind talking to anybody. Lord knows he doesn't know me, but he talked to me like we've been friends since day one at Sonoya once. And it's just really cool win, man. Like you said, Rocket 1 was right there. BP 32 was there. He had a stumble on a restart. I didn't necessarily know what happened there. I missed it or didn't read it in the articles or whatnot, but had a stumble, and that piled up a bunch of guys, and that brought in a bunch of newcomers. But at the end of the day, dude, I don't think many people had much for Squirrel. That cushion got up to about mid to 3/4 up the racetrack, and I ain't going to deny it. The 3S is pretty good at Fairbury in those conditions, and he showed it this past weekend.
Yeah, man. About Brian Shirley's wife too. I was going to mention that too. You know, this article that Kevin Kovac wrote last week. I brought it back up just so people are aware. You know, he talks about this all the time. She's been going through chemotherapy. This has been going on for around 10 years. She was first diagnosed in 2015. She has a symptom called Churg-Strauss syndrome. Which is characterized by inflammation of small and medium-sized blood vessels, and it affects various organs in your body. But man, she's been fighting with everything she's got for the last 10 years. Like you said, to see Shirley so emotional, I think every chance he gets when he mentions her in Victor Lane, and some people might say that, oh, same old song. We've heard Shirley say that, but like, dude, this is his fight, though, man. This is his fight. Like, this is his life. Like, could you imagine the woman that you love the most that is fighting for her life, and you're out here chasing up and down the roads, doing something that you love and that you're passionate about, but you're trying to pay the bills with it too? I mean, dude, I've always had a lot of respect and love and adoration for Brian Shirley and his approach and his professionalism, but like for the things that he goes through, man, like what a guy. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, I get it. You know, he didn't choose the cards that he was dealt, but he's just trying to play his best hand. And I promise you that $88,500 goes a long way that he won. How about that false fan fund too, or falls draw? I can't remember exactly, but dude, it's falls draw, a whole other $50,000 on the line, thanks to all them great race fans up in Illinois. 50,000 additional with his how many laps did he lead? He led a lot. It equated to $37,500 more dollars on top of the 50 that he won. So 38,500. 88.5 was what he went with, and dude, what a night. What a night for sure.
Yeah. Dude, and just like you said, the Falls Magic, 3 a.m., just everything about it, man. The Falls Draw or the Falls Fund, whatever they call it, to add the $500 a lap leader money. I mean, that just tells you that whole community and everybody around there buys in. And I don't remember who it was, but on one of the pieces about the PDC and Fairbury, they said that, you know, everybody in this community wants you to show up and love Fairbury as much as they do. And they show that each time. I mean, I think that is a true statement. I believe it was Mike Norris, not the racer, the announcer, Mike Norris. I think he said that in a piece. And dude, it speaks volume, man. 7,000 something people hung out till 3 a.m. through the rain. And like you said, we're gonna like riot if it was only 50 laps. Like, they were not happy about that thing going to get shortened.
They were not.
And, they were not going to be happy about it. They were not going to be happy about it. They wanted to see the PDC at 100 laps. Like, and it just tells you what it means, man. And I really think that we could buy in here as an Arklatex region. And I'm not trying to spin this off on another way. We can keep on talking about the PDC, but I think this is our chance to buy in and, you know, do this with Boot Hill and what is the Bayou Classic, I think they're calling it. Like, Like, this is our chance to do that, man. Show that Southern hospitality off, man. Grab your neighbor, grab your buddy, go to the racetrack, and let's break 7,000. Let's have 10,000 on the property at Boot Hill Speedway. Like, this is our chance to do something like that and start. Heck, forget the Falls magic. Let's get the boot magic, baby. LA, let's go. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to spin this off the PDC, but it just tells you it's possible, man. And in 10 years, it went from a regional event to a crown jewel that 70 something cars showed up for, 78, I think, plus it was upper 70s, almost 80s. Like, man, it's amazing what that deal is. And just to have their guy, and what's even better, like you mentioned, Brian Shirley wins, Brandon Shepard was second, and Dennis Erb Jr. was third. Illinois homeboys stand up, represent. Like, it's everything that all those race fans love about racing. Their hometown boys were in there, defended off the outsiders, the JDs, the Overtons, the Ricky Thornton Juniors. Like, it's something special, and I think we could have that here as well.
No doubt, man. I think we've got something special cooking. Obviously, with the amount of fans we had show up for the Outlaws race last year, obviously this year is going to be a 2-day event. So I hope the same amount of people will show up both nights, because we're going to need to pay that purse. But man, I really think we can get something special. Boot Hill races really well too for late models, and I think that it can race pretty similar to Fairbury. I don't want to go that far and start comparing Boot Hill and Fairbury yet. We're not there just yet. But like you said, they went 10 years ago from a regional event and now to a nationally known, and rivaling a crown jewel. There's some people that still say there's only 4 crown jewels in dirt late model racing. It's the North South, the Dirt Track World Championship, the Dirt Late Model Dream, and the World 100. But those are the old sticklers that have been around for a long time. But hey, we love them too. It's okay. There are some great events though that are on their way. Hey, also you mentioned Dennis Erb Jr. I think we can officially say that the Rocket XR2 is legit, and obviously we've seen a lot of good Rocket performances lately out of drivers who are in Rocket chassis. But and you're tried and true with Rocket. Obviously, Longhorn's not going anywhere. But listen, I mean, I know in an Infinity won last night with Ryan Gustin, but and I think Erb finished on the podium again last night too with the World of Outlaws at Wilmot. But Erb, that's a really good run for Dennis Erb Jr. up there, and I think that just really shows that he's really turned a corner too and found that speed. And we talked about him on the pod last week. Erb Jr.'s are rolling, and I think there's quite a few other Rocket chassis drivers right now that have really found some confidence here lately too.
Yeah, it just all goes back to your program, man. Dennis Erb, I'm not going to speak too farly because I haven't been in too much of the know the last week because we were King of the Hill prepping. But there's only Brandon Shepard, I think, was the only true XR2 at PDC. Dennis Erb was still in the XR 1.2, but that just tells you, man, like when you get your program, and I mean, I'm not going to sit here and hide behind a bush like Rocket was behind. And then obviously Mark and them got something going, and they got something they can kind of relate to Dennis. Hopefully, I know Dennis and them probably are pretty tight because Dennis is, whether he's ventured off for a week or two with a Capital or Barry Wright, he always come back to old Mark Richards there. So I think they're really close together and help each other out some when they can. And, and at the end of the day, it is Illinois tracks that they're really good at, and that also helps a lot. But it's obvious now. XR2 is getting a lot of talk, and the Rocket one has been really good. And it comes in ebbs and flows. That's what we love about dirt late model racing. People have been sitting here for the last 3 years saying Rocket's dead, Longhorns on top, and there shouldn't be no other chassis other than Longhorns. And like I said a week or two ago, or maybe last week, Mark Richards is not going to stop until he's on top, bud. And it's what we love about dirt late model racing, man. It comes in ebbs and flows, and when your stuff's good and it's happening, and you got to ride that wave. I promise you, Dennis Erb Jr. wants to find a racetrack tonight to race at, and Lord knows he would. And that's part of it, man. That's why we love racing, because even though you think you're on top of the world, it's also the most humbling sport in the world, because you can turn around one night and win, and the next night you're loaded up before the A main even drops the green flag.
Big facts right here on Clark After Dark, episode 45, folks. No doubt about it. Who was the fastest 45 that you recall? Is it Tyler Reddick right now in NASCAR? This is random. Fastest 45 you recall.
Man, right off the top of my head, I mean, of course, Tyler Reddick, but I would love to see my boy Cowboy Blanchard come back out the fastest 45. And when you mention old Colt 45, my boy Dean Rasco, come on.
2 zigzag, baby, that's all you need.
That's all you need, my friend. That's all you need.
That's right. I missed getting to announce that when Dean was on the racetrack, whether it was appropriate or not. I'd be like, Colt 45 and Dean Rasco, and baby, that's all you need. People love that. They love that a lot, and I did too. Love Dino, no doubt. Dude, let's move on. Kyle Strickler won $125,000 at the Ogilvy Raceway for the big deal this past weekend. He was in his elite chassis, of course. He's been running the CDR chassis built by Kay Dillard on the USMTS Tour this year. He's got 4 wins on USMTS Tour this year, and they'll move to Lucas Oil Speedway this weekend, where I'm headed. Looking forward to that. We'll talk about that here in just a second, too. I want to talk about this. I've seen some comments on social media, and I don't think it's fair to Kyle Strickler. I also don't think it's fair to any other drivers who raced this event, because they showed up and they took this shit seriously, right? $125,000. I don't care who's putting the race on, what it may be. And by the way, I've heard from several people since, and you can say with this or that, and I'm not here defending anybody who put this race on. I just think it's important for when people are on the other end of the foot chastising somebody. I think it's very important to be on the other end of the foot to also say that I saw many people this weekend to say that they were paid in full whenever they left this event. They were paid the night that they left the racetrack. That is very important for this. I mean, with all the rumblings and different things people are saying on social media, this thing gets spun of many different ways, and maybe that's why their car count wasn't where maybe you would expect it to be for a race that pays $125,000 to win. So this is my question. Does the perception of lower car counts hurt the value of big paying shows, or do winners still deserve the same credit for winning a big show if they win over 120 cars versus 60 cars? Me personally, no. I think that's a stigma that we have that's been developed. Like, a race isn't successful unless you have an overflowing pit area, or you can only start between 20 and 30 cars anyway, Cortland. I think it's unfair to discredit a driver like Kyle Strickler. I mean, they can only control what they can control, right? Like, they showed up, they competed, they don't control their competition. When you show up to a $125,000 to win race, you're expecting elite competition. You're not shying away from it, right? I mean, I've saw comments on here like, oh, he only beat 59 cars. It's like, well, dude, let me tell you, like, there's 20 or 25 of them dudes. You can't outrun them. You know what I'm saying? Kay Dillard finished fifth. I mean, I don't really know where I'm going with this. I just think it's unfortunate. Sure, I think there could have been more cars for 125,000 to win, and it hurts my heart for the event promoter. But what I did see was full grandstands both nights for this event, and it still paid $125,000. And Mooresville, North Carolina racer Kyle Strickler got it done, and he was fired up as shit about it in Victory Lane, and he didn't give a damn that he only beat 58 other people about it. I promise.
I absolutely hate that stigmatism that we have about, that, like you said, you mean, if you didn't see it on social media, it's out there. Oh, he only outrun 59 cars, and you said it perfectly. Like, you couldn't outrun 59 cars. Like, if you're making that comment, you can't outrun 59 cars. I ain't calling you out, bud, but it's the truth. And it's silly. Do we not credit the World 100 the same as we did back in the 90s? It had 200 something cars back in the 90s, and last year it only had 108. So that, I mean, the World 100 doesn't mean as much then if we're going to use that criteria. No, like, it's absolutely silly. You said it best, man. It was $125,000 on the line. At the end of the day, that man is going to get paid or got paid, however the situation is. Like you said, you ain't defending one foot the other, just looking at both sides. And you said people left with their money. Maybe Strickler left with his money. At the end of the day, the dude got a 6-figure payday racing modifieds. And if you can't be happy or pumped up for him about that, then I'm not going to say we don't need you in dirt track racing, but I don't want to hear from you. Like, I mean, it's just the truth. I mean, come at me, bro. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but, like, why are we discrediting a dude that was from Mooresville, North Carolina? I don't know where he was at before, but he's probably been on the road the last week with USMTS because they had their whole northern swing. He's been on the road for probably 3 or 4 weeks. And if he wasn't, he drove all the way from North Carolina to Ogilvy, Minnesota to race for $125,000. And like you said, Kay Dillard was there, Rodney Sanders was there, and Jim Chisholm was there. As far as I need to know, if those 3 or 4 guys, TP was there, I believe, Tanner Mullins, I mean, as long as those guys are there and you win 6 figures, bud, hey, you done it. You know what I mean? I mean, people can sit here and say Jim Chisholm, Rodney Sanders, and Kay Dillard the best modifieds, in recent years. And they were there, and Kyle Strickler absolutely put it on them. I mean, just the high side tickler did what he did best, and I mean, just spanked them. Like, there was no question about it. I mean, I don't know if he led every lap, but I think he started on the pole and almost led every lap if he didn't lead every lap, man, and just absolutely dominated him on the cushion. And the high side tickler did what he does best, man. And to all the people that are going to hate about it for 59 cars, dude, just hop in the pond because you're a silly goose. Like, that's all there is to it.
Yeah, how about Joseph Thomas? I believe he was in a CDR chassis out of
Yes.
Glen, Minnesota. He was a local guy. He finished second in the race. Pretty badass there. Alex Williamson, he's a USMTS
Alex
regular.
Williamson. Yep.
He finished third. He came from 11th, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce. I'm so happy I've never had to announce this gentleman's last name. Jody BELLE. Yeah, I hate it. I shouldn't even. I apologize.
Well, I tried.
Yeah, Shane Sabraski, who's a legend over there. Like you mentioned, TP was there. He finished 8th in the event.
Yeah.
Jim Chisholm finished 6th. Landon Atkinson, who's really good in that area. Joe Chisholm rounded out the top 10. Kyle Brown was in the main event. Dude, like some really good cars. Gary Christian, Tanner Mullins finished 20. Stormy Scott was there as well. Rodney Sanders did not finish. Reese Solander. Like I said, man, listen. Look, can we just stop the silliness, guys? Like, I get it. You know what? When Jeffrey Abbey wins the King of the Hill on August the 30th, if he wins it, I don't care who wins it, whoever wins it. If Ricky Ingles wins it, you know what I'm going to say to him, or what you might say to him in Victor Lane? Be like, I hate to be the one to ask you here, Ricky or Jeffrey, does this win feel less special because 82 cars were here and not 104 like the last 2 years? You know what I mean? Like, I just like 82 cars at the King of the Hill this week. Like, sure, we'd have liked to kept the streak up and still had 100 again this year. But like, just because 82 showed up does not discredit Jeffrey Abbey, Ricky Ingles, Justin Whitehead, or any of these top 4 that locked in after their heat races. Like, they still had to battle just as hard. We probably had just like 3 or 4 less heats total, but 82 cars is still 82 cars strong. Like, let's don't get it twisted.
Yeah, and your top guys and your elite of the elite were there. There were some that were missing out, and I mean that's on them. You know, I get it. Like all these factory stock guys, they're 99% of them work normal 8 to 5 jobs Monday through Friday, and I get it. Schedules get tight. We race a bunch nowadays, so if you can't make it, you can't make it. But at the end of the day, there's enough quality guys. Like if you tell me to ask that question, Zach, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not asking it because I'm gonna not make myself look that silly. You know what I mean? Because if I ask that question, I guarantee they're gonna look at me and go, "Dude, Cortland, like you're stupid." Like they may actually tell me that on live broadcast.
I know we're not. That's what I'm saying.
It is hypothetically. Yeah, hypothetically. Like it's just
how goofy. Yeah, but I mean, listen. Let's also talk about this on the other side. And full disclosure here, like playing devil's advocate. Let's just play it. Why didn't we have 100 cars again for the King of the Hill this year when we've had 100 for the last 10 years? I could name 10 guys off the top that weren't there. Gary Harvin or Colby Mewborn, who was in Gary's car last time. Bobby Jordan, the Busch Light Beer car wasn't there. Dude, I could probably just Bo Perry, his brand new car went there. I could just go on and just continue to name guys until we get to 100. And Alan Tippin, who made the King of the Hill, he wasn't there. I could quickly get to 100. You know what I'm saying? So, like, there's not that big of a discrepancy. There's just a couple guys who weren't, like, whether they be vacation or whatever it may be. You know, not everybody centers their entire year around these big events. And, like, I kind of wish they did. Sure, I'd love to have 100 cars again, but it's really not the end of the world. And the point of this whole conversation is it doesn't discredit the event. It doesn't make it any less special, and it doesn't make the racing any less good when you just have 18 less cars, right? Like, you add 18 on top of 8. Okay, well, we got 100 now. That's great, you know. But it's not always like what you're striving for, right? Like I think we're striving to put on the best event possible. Sure, we'd love to have 100 cars every single time, and maybe that's because we paid $30,000, right? Have we watered it down just a little bit? I don't know what the answer is to that, Cortland. I really don't. Like we'd love to have 100. Not sure the reason why we didn't, but we're also not even extremely upset that we didn't either, right? Like 82 cars. Like I said, I'm gonna beat this horse dead. 82 cars is still 82 strong. Like that's a really good car count.
Yeah, I mean, a phenomenal car count, dude. And I mean, if you just want my honest opinion on why there weren't so many there, it's because like there is so many 2-day races nowadays. Like so many guys are just blown. I mean, I know guys that are already talking about they're blown through their vacation days and they're going to take sick days for the rest of the year. You know, just we race so much, and it's not a bad thing. You know, I'm not saying that we shouldn't race because I love racing more than anybody else. I plan on going to 2 racetracks this weekend and watching and spectating. But it's just like, man, it's just. We race so much that, you know, when we started this King of the Hill, there was 3, maybe 4 5,000 win factory stock races back then. You had the Classic, the King of the Hill, and maybe one or two more that paid 5,000 or more. Well, now it's like every other weekend. We got the factory stock frenzy coming up. Chatham Super B had a 10,000 to win. I'm sure there's a 5,000 win somewhere in DFW that I haven't seen get released yet. And we got the 30,000 and the 10,000, and it's not a bad thing, but we're giving factory stock guys so many options to go race for big money that they're not going to take every available option out there. And that's not a problem for them, and it's not necessarily a problem for the track. It's just what we've developed, and why I think we really need to appreciate our racing and what we got and really support it when it does come. And like you said it perfect. If you had vacation, and I know school's about to start, and you want to take your last vacation with your kids before school start, and XYZ, it was hot, there was a little chance of rain. If you want to use that as an excuse, you look like a genius now, just whatever it may have been that you wanted to use. I mean, that's fine. I mean, we're not sitting, like you said, we're not mad that we had 82 cars. We add those 18 cars, that's 4 more heat races we got to run. And then we're up past 12 o'clock, and we're probably not talking about it as happy as we are. You know what I mean? Like, there's a bunch of different ways you can look at it, but I think not the problem, but we just have given factory stock guys so many options and availability to race for big money. And most guys, when you really look at your race season, you only want to plan about 2 to 4 big money races. Cause I mean, it does cost a lot of money. I mean, you can easily tie up $800 in one of those weekends by the time, if you have to get hotels and tires and fuel. I mean, 800 is probably cutting it short. I just know that's what I would plan to spend with everything, with hotels, fuel. I mean, if you put your whole weekend, I mean, you're looking I would say 800, if not more. So it's hard for guys to sit there and plan that out. So like I said, we just got a lot of big races, man. And to only have 82, like you said, that does not diminish the King of the Hill by no means, because all of them guys in the pit area, when we walked around Thursday and Friday, they still wanted to win it just as bad as they did last year.
No doubt about it, man. And can't wait to get back to Boot Hill August the 30th to make up the King of the Hill. I'll be interested to see how many guys show back up, to try to race their way into it, right? Whenever everybody leaves, right, them 82 cars, I wonder how many of those 82 show back up that were buried in points, right, that try to race their way into the King of the Hill. Or just throw in the towel and wave the white flag and say, hey, we'll see you at Boot Hill in 2026 for the King of the Hill. We'll see how it goes, though. The format was a little bit different, so we're not running alphabet soup. We'll just have C's and B features, but excited to see what kind of guys show back up to show out at Boot Hill. There's that RaceON All-Star Challenge points has been, it's kind of fluctuated. And I'll tell you another thing that went crazy the other day, like I think Neil Kemp and Justin Whitehead, there was a few guys that were knotted up at the top of them RaceON fan voting, the fan vote. Man, that thing got turned on its head there in the final night. Cody Chamberlain ended up with the fan save provisional, which is pretty cool for him, because like Whitehead, right, he was already locked into the top 4, so he's into the show. He was number 1, so it ended up moving a guy in there. So shout out to all the Chamberlain voters out there that got him into the main event for the King of the Hill on August 30th with that fan save provisional. Man, that's huge for him. I mean, that's worth $500 damn.
Yeah, and all it took was a couple social media interactions. I mean, obviously he had enough buddies and friends to sit there and click his name and put the email in and whatever you had to do to get the vote. I mean, it's really cool. I think it just creates buzz on social media, man. There's a lot of people that find out about it now, whether they show up to the racetrack or not. That's something that we got to work on, I feel like, because like you said, we're not going to be bad about it, because most of the time, like you said, a bad Friday night crowd turns into a really good Saturday crowd. But if we can end up getting 2 or 3 more people to the racetrack because of that, dude, to me, it's all worth it. Really cool. It's worth $500, dude. And I guarantee Cody Chamberlain was grinning ear to ear whenever that came out, and then said that he was going to be locked into the King of the Hill come August 30th.
When you said that you plan on hitting a couple of racetracks this weekend, did you mean you were going to go to Arklatex and watch the heats, and then go to Boot Hill and watch the features?
No, friend. That's
funny, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, it is funny. No, Arklatex is about 2.5, if not 2 hours and 45 minutes from the house. And I think a lot of people, they don't I've mentioned it before. I was blessed that my dad took me to go racing, and we go up there a bunch, and a bunch of people didn't realize how far Alexandria, Louisiana was south. Because a lot of guys will quickly tell you that, man, it's a lot farther down there than you realize. And I said, yeah, tell me about it. I drive that thing back when we get done at 1:00 in the morning. It ain't no fun. But no, man, talking about this weekend, something I wrote down that I thought was really cool, worth mentioning. RaceON platform has 13 races in 2 days. It starts off Friday night, Elite Wing Series at Hot, 67 Speedway with their Friday night action, Sabine Speedway with their Friday night action, and then Monette Motor Speedway's racing. Oh, man. Caught myself there. And then Saturday, dude, I mean, it is a plethora of races. If you're in these areas or if you can't make it to the racetrack, you got plenty of options to race. You got the STIMS mods at Cotton Bowl, STIMS modified fan here, STIMS guy now, I guess you could say. Kennedale Speedway Parks Racing, Tom's modifieds at Southern Oklahoma Speedway. My boy Jake Huckabee might go 3 for 3 with old Tom's mods. I mean, my boy been digging. He's heating up. Grayson County. Heating up, Grayson County Speedway's racing, Freddie Cook Memorial at Super B, Boot Hill Speedway's racing with the Queen of the Hill. That's gaining a lot of hype. My boy Jeff Lewis is raffling a car off for a lady to drive. If you want to buy in on it, go ahead.
He backed away from that.
Oh, he backed away from it?
Well, I'm sure the offer's still there. But yeah, he said it didn't garner as much interest as he was hoping for, but,
Okay. I didn't see that then today. Well, anyway, okay. Boot Hill Speedway, right. Queen of the Hill. We got Powder Puff races at Boot Hill Saturday. IMCA Sprints at 105. Arklatex Speedway's racing Saturday. And the Southern State Mods are racing at Hunt County Speedway. Dude, I don't know about you. That's a lot of racing action going on across the great states of Oklahoma, Texas, and Louisiana. And I know I didn't hit 90% of them that were probably closer than some of the tracks I listed. There is a lot of racing going on this weekend.
And I want to clarify. I talked to Rollo Pilkington on the phone a little bit earlier. And for everybody who's so concerned about Arklatex and Boot Hill racing on the same night, folks, I just want to clarify and make sure that y'all understand we're not about to get in a pissing match, Arklatex and Boot Hill or not. That's not what's going on right now, okay? And maybe that wasn't the right way to say it. But so this August 2nd date originally, Arklatex didn't have this August 2nd date, and then later on it was added, and there was just some confusion or something there. I'm not going to get too into the politics on all of this stuff, but just know, folks, that this is only going to be this time this weekend. It'll probably be the only time you'll see Arklatex and Boot Hill racing on the same night. You got to understand, Arklatex has been rained out 7 or 8 times this year. They've only got 3, maybe 4 events in this year. They're ready to race. They want to race. They got new ownership. Boot Hill also wants to race, right? We've been rained out several times this year. We also plan to race. August 2nd has been on Boot Hill's schedule since the drop of the schedule being released this year. So it just ended up being kind of a tough deal right there. Listen, there's no bad blood between the two tracks. I want to make that very clear and expect in the future that they'll be great, great working together and cooperative scheduling and all that good stuff. This isn't 2003 anymore, folks. We cannot sustain doing this every single weekend. We don't have 130 cars racing at Champion Park. There's not 130 at Boot Hill and 130 at Arklatex anymore. It's just not. It's not 2003 anymore, or 1997, as much as we all wish it was. There's just not fans also to split hairs. To be honest with you, Cortland, if I was a fan this weekend, and I told Rollo this exact same thing on the phone earlier, I said, I hate this for the fans. If I'm a fan, I'm staying home this weekend or I'm watching it on RaceON. Just being honest. Because I want, if I think Derek Grigsby, this is just me speaking as a fan on with a microphone or just as a fan. If I think Derek Grigsby's going to be at Boot Hill and Connor Mewborn's going to be at Arklatex, or this guy's here and this guy's there, and I think all the competition is spread out, then maybe I shouldn't say this because I should still be trying to get as many people into these stands to watch these great racers. But man, that's all I'm saying. As a fan, if I feel like I have to split and I can't figure out who's going to be where, it just makes it difficult. Back in the day, we could say, the Boot Hill cars are coming because or Webster rained out. Or Webster's running and Boot Hill rained out. So all the Boot Hill cars are coming to run at Webster. Well, now everybody's just an Arklatex car. Nobody's known just as a Boot Hill car or a Webster car, or this and that. We're all kind of working as one now. We're all picking and all the cars are coming from the same crop and the fans are all coming from the same crop. So we got to be smart the way we schedule. Again, this probably won't happen again, but man, please, this is what I'm telling you guys. Go support one of them. Please go support these racetracks this weekend. That's what I'd do. Go support Arklatex or Boot Hill. That's what I'd do. I'd actually go and support them, and I would watch on RaceON later. I'd do both. That's what I'd do.
I mean, are you sure it's not the late 90s, early 2000s? Because I still see people all the time that put out there on social media that they just need to race every Saturday night on top of each other. I mean, I still see that. I still see that popping up today. I mean, I say today. I mean, I've seen it pop up in the last year that we just all need to race on Saturday, Friday, Saturday nights. Yeah, like we just all need to race on top of each other. And this is the weekend that if you're one of those people that think that, well, then you better go show up to the racetrack and go support them. And that's no shot to nobody. That's just if that's what you wanted to see, then every single one of those guys needs to be there, whether it's a fan or a racer or no matter what it may be. Like, you just show out and support, man. Like I said, I'm probably going to end up being at 2 racetracks this weekend. I'm going to go hit the Sabine Speedway on Friday and then run up to Boot Hill on Saturday and hang out with the boys and, just spend a weekend racing. I could sit here. I probably got just as much excuse as anybody. I got an hour and a half to Manny and 2 hours to Boot Hill, and by golly, my beautiful self's going to be there in person.
Dude, I've got 7 hours of Lucas Oil Speedway, and that's the one thing I'm not looking forward to. So here's the deal: I'm not going to be at Arklatex or Boot Hill. That's the reason why I called Rollo earlier today, trying to get the skinny on what the deal is with all this stuff, but also was just calling to because man, I want to make sure I'm loyal first and foremost to Boot Hill Speedway, the track that gave me my opportunity first when I first got out of rehab, and I'll always be very thankful for that. So I had to, first and foremost called Rollo to say, hey man, what do you think about me going to announce USMTS and Wheatland, Missouri this weekend? He's like, shit, Zach, do what's best for you. And so I'll always be appreciative of that. I really will. So thank you to Rollo and thank you to Bubba for allowing me to continue to do what I love at Boot Hill, but also go out and chase my dreams and to go, to go to different events. I haven't been to Lucas Oil Speedway since 2009. I think I mentioned that on the pod a few weeks ago, and I've really, really been wanting to get back to that place. I know we watched the King of America a few weeks ago, and that racetrack's been really, really racy this year. So when Trenton Berry called me a couple of days ago and asked me if I wanted to come call the mods of the USMTS at Lucas Oil, I said, let me call you back real quick, bud. Let me figure out what I can do here. Not looking forward to the drive. But they do have drag boat racing and all kind of cool off-road racing going on with the Pro 2s and Pro 4s on Saturday. So I'm going to go check out some different kind of motorsports. And, dude, this is the coolest shit about the weekend. They have hotel rooms now and suites at Lucas Oil Speedway.
Do they really?
Todd Staley booked me a hotel room at the racetrack this weekend. I'm excited about that. So really, really looking forward to going to Lucas Oil. And obviously, I hope Arklatex or Boot Hill and Arklatex both have a respectable showing, and all of our local guys show up and support these racetracks down here. But I am looking forward to Lucas Oil, no doubt.
And I hope if we have any broad listeners from across the Texas or wherever, man, any race fans, man, get out and support. Like I said, there's 13 races alone on the RaceON platform. So I know there's a lot more out there that we maybe just that I don't know about directly off the top of my head. So, man, get out and support a racetrack this weekend, dude. It's the dog days of summer. It is hot. I know school's about to start, so there's a lot of people. I know just the average fan, when school comes around, whenever we ran 171 Speedway, dude, that week before school started was one of our worst attended weeks, just because, I mean, your kids got to get school supplies and this, that, and the other, shoes, whatever it may be. We've said it plenty of times. Living's not getting any cheaper nowadays. So we know it is a blessing to get to go to the races and enjoy time with friends and family. So if you can find a way to find yourself at a racetrack, do so, man, because it's the dog days of summer. And I promise you, the event promoters, they may not go around and shake your hand and tell you thank you, but from Cortland Smith, if you show up to a racetrack this weekend and support it, thank you, friend.
I reiterate all of those same sentiments, folks. Bring a friend, tell a friend, go support the races, man. Do you have anything in additional that you'd like to mention here before we get out of this episode number 45?
I'm just going to give some love to our sprint car people. If we got any, I don't know. I know we're pretty late model heavy around here. It's the old South. The South, we like late models. But Anthony Macri wins the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars at BAPS. That was on July 23rd. He showed that he's not no one-hit wonder, which if you knew anything about sprint car racing, Anthony Macri is a certified wheeler, one of the best true outlaws, not necessarily a World of Outlaws guy, but just runs whatever he wants to and shows up and runs very well. But he won at BAPS, and then David Gravel won at Weed Sport, and I think Weed Sport is a really cool track. When you look at an overhead view of it, it's so cool. Like, racetracks with two different corners are like a lot of people every racetrack corner is different. Like, there's no two that are identical, but a lot of them try to shape them up very similar. But when I say these two corners are different, they are completely 180 from one another, and it's a really cool place, man. It always seems to race well. But David Gravel won the World of Outlaw Sprint Car feature at Weed Sport. Williamsport on July 27th. And then when we were recording the pod last week, the high limit ran at Lernerville, and Carson Macedo picked up the win at Lernerville. That was last week. So I know it's kind of a little bit of that's older news. The Outlaws were supposed to race at Williams Grove, and they got rained out and canceled. They fought some rain as well this weekend, but that's some love to the sprint car guys for anybody that keeps up with us and wanted to hear about some old wings and things. That's your sprint car love for the week.
Oh, I love it. I do. I love sprint cars more now than I ever have, and I enjoy them. Before we get out of here, too, no, he's not an official sponsor of this podcast, but he's always been a big supporter of mine, been a friend of mine for many, many years. I just want to shout out my boy Scott Swanner, Bulletproof Tees, custom mats and hats and all. Man, he sent me a Bulletproof Tees box to my parents' house last week. I saw him in Oklahoma. He's like, man, he's like, what's your address? I'm going to send you some goodies. And I was like, okay. I did not expect him to send me what he sent. Like, he sent me some really nice stuff, and I just want to give him a shout out here and just thank you, man. He does a lot of good for racing. He sponsors a lot of different racetracks, sponsors series. He sponsors the ARM series, which I announced for. He sponsors the USNTS. Dude, he does a lot for racing. He's been doing it for many years. A lot of our local racers use them, for their apparel, for their merchandise. And no, he doesn't sponsor this podcast, but it doesn't matter, man. I'm just real and honest here. He doesn't have to pay anything here for me to give him a shout out. Thank you, Scott Swanner, for being who you are in racing, man. We couldn't do it without great people like you. Not just because you sent me awesome shit. This is nice stuff, but thank you, man. Appreciate everything you do for so many other great people in racing, man. Yep, go out, support a racetrack this weekend. Architects Boot Hill, both racing here at the Architects. You can tune in and watch me this weekend, or listen to me live on racingdirt.com from the Lucas Oil Speedway in Wheatland, Missouri this weekend. Oh, by the way, Rollo told me on the phone earlier, I did let you know, but if you're interested, you don't have to do it. Of course, it's 2 hours, but if you want to jump on there on the mic with Josh Bell this weekend and fill in for me, you're more than welcome to do so. You don't have to, of course, but the option of the table and the floor is wide open for you to hop on the old mic over there at the Boot Hill Speedway this week if you want to do that.
We'll find out. We may have to let the pod get out to some of our listeners, and I'll just see if anybody texts me and go, man, are you really going to be at Boot Hill this weekend? And all that may determine my thing. I don't want to overcome my stay. Man, that like I said before, that up there in that press box, man, that's a whole different animal. I'm way happier in that infield. That's more my nature. But yeah, man, I may give it a shot. We'll see what it looks like come Saturday, man. I may have to take you and Rollo up on that offer and pray for the listeners' ears and the fans in the stands that have to listen to me ramble a couple times. But Josh Bell will be there, man. He does a fantastic job. He's the one. He will be the anchor of the show. Trust me. You won't have to listen to me for 4 hours straight.
Yeah, go to work on the off season. I'll talk to Chris David. We gotta figure out a way to get a mobile camera every event we do, so that way Big Sexy can work the infield at all these racetracks. Anyway, we'll get out of here before we get too carried away. But hey, man, great job tonight, dude. I love doing this with you every week. What do you got?
Oh no, just so you could watch me fall more times than not.
Yeah, dude, that was graceful. I was down using the restroom and that happened, and whenever you hit the ground shook, and I was like, "Oh, what just happened?" No,
man, come on, bro. You don't do that.
Come on, man. It's just all that great. What I meant, all that greatness hitting the ground is what I meant.
All that greatness. Yeah, all that greatness, I was going to tell Josh, let the local weather station know that it wasn't an earthquake. Big Sexy just fell down. You know what I mean? That's what I thought about saying that, but that'd have been a little too far. I didn't know I was on camera at the time. I don't have no light down there. I thought maybe I fell and nobody saw me, but the backstretch crowd, they hooped and hollered for me. They made me feel good about myself at least.
I'm headed to a late night Chicken Express run, folks. I'm hungry. This has been Clark After Dark, episode number 45. They do not sponsor this podcast either, but shout out Chicken Express. We'll see y'all next Tuesday night.
Holla.